Thank you for coming this evening. The reason why we're late really is because, you know, that like most Catholics who think the 11 o'clock Mass starts at 11:15. We want to make sure that we're all here on time. This is the Liturgy of the Mass from Calvary. And we're going to discuss what it was like at Calvary in the year 33. A climate not unsimilar to what we're enjoying right now. It is late morning on the 3rd day of April, 1978 years ago, in the spring of AD 33. A procession is forming in the courtyard of the palace built by Herod the Great, now the Jerusalem home of the Roman prefect ruling the Roman province of Judea. Jerusalem has been the national capital since the days of David the king 1,000 years before. It remained the capital of Israel, and the associated territories ruled as one country by a vicious administrator named Herod, made puppet king of the Judeans by grace of Octavian Augustus, emperor of Rome. When King Herod died in 1 BC, Augustus carved the land into quarters called tetrarchies. The two northern realms were ruled by Herod's sons, Antipas and Philip. Until 6 AD, a third son, Archelaus, governed the southern half of his father's domain, comprising Samaria, Judea, and Idumea, the Herod family's native country, a land southeast of Israel near the Negev desert, called Edom in the Old Testament, and it was the inveterate enemy of Israel. After years of receiving numerous complaints, Caesar Augustus deposed and exiled Archelaus. In the confusion, a rebellion to gain Judean independence was quickly snuffed out by Roman legions. In the aftermath, Judea became an imperial province governed by a military officer called a prefect. The first was named Coponius. He was answerable solely to the emperor. In the year 26, Tiberius Caesar, the successor of Augustus, appointed the fifth in this series of prefects, a member of an old Roman family from Tuscany, named Lucius Pontius Pilatus. The capital of Roman Judea was Caesarea Maritima, a pleasant seaside city built by Herod the Great, about 30 miles northwest of Jerusalem on the eastern coast of the Mediterranean Sea. Pilatus maintained his headquarters there, far enough away from local political and religious squabbling. Despite this circumstance, for all Jewish people in the country and dispersed throughout the world, Jerusalem remains the capital, the heart of their being, the city of God where David and Solomon and so many other kings reigned in ages past, where also, more importantly, stands the glorious temple of the one God. The prefect is aware of the city's profound significance. 3 times each year, for major Jewish feasts, pilgrims arrive from throughout the empire. They travel to Jerusalem, the heart of their being. So does Pontius Pilatus, with many military men. He needs them to keep a lid on the rebellious plots harbored by a resentful populace. Today in Jerusalem, it is the preparation day for Passover, the annual remembrance of the exodus from slavery in Egypt to freedom. For Pilatus, it is a particularly dangerous time. Due to its religious connotation, the religious feast has taken on political overtones. The Roman governor is conscious of the ramifications of a feast, celebrating freedom from a domineering nation. Lately, Passover has been an enjoyable festival, celebrated happily by 1 million pilgrims who descend upon Jerusalem and its environs, bringing lambs for sacrifice, followed by 8 days of feasting. Pilatus remains vigilant, taking no chances. He brings an entire cohort to supplement the troops billeted in the Fortress Antonia, overlooking the temple of God on the Temple Mount, where priests and Levites will be offering sacrificial lambs for many hours today. Although it's Passover in Judea, there is some confusion as to when it begins. 3 different calendars are used by 3 different sects in Judea and Galilee. The Sadducees, the party of nobility and priesthood, believe in the supremacy of the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, recognizing them alone as the Word of God. They differ with another branch of Judaism, the Pharisees, over the correct dates of religious commemorations, while the Essenes, a small sect that keeps to itself in settlements near the Dead Sea, have yet another way of computing the seasons. The Pharisees are Judean Puritans, scrupulously pious in their devotion to God and observance of His commands. They keep aloof from the Am Haaretz, the people of the land, the farmers, as well as the craftsmen and tradesmen, especially those who do business with Gentiles. The Pharisees consider the common people lax in their observance of the Mosaic law, and for that reason they are considered ritually unclean. The Pharisees also differ with the Sadducees over matters of religious belief, such as the final resurrection of the dead, which the Sadducees deny, finding no belief explicit in the Holy Torah. Since the vast majority of priests are Sadducees, that party's calendar is officially used for the temple services. That hasn't stopped the Pharisees from celebrating the holiday the day before, when the first full moon of spring appeared on the 14th day of Nisan, the first month of the Jewish year, the day prescribed by Moses. Yesterday, the temple had been more of an abattoir than at any other time of the year. It's a slaughterhouse. Today, while we're living out, priests and Levites will again form an assembly line, butchering another 50,000 to 70,000 lambs or kids, both acceptable sacrifices to Yahweh during this holy season. The priests, or the followers and their fathers, will slit the throats of the lambs. The blood will be caught up in golden cups to be poured over the altar of holocausts, while the fat of the abdomen of the lamb will be salted and burned on the grill as an offering to Yahweh. The rest of the lamb will be returned to the families for roasting, the centerpiece of the evening Seder feast.